All right, hello and welcome everybody. Hope you're having a good day. This is going to be part 2 of the Fox and Friends interview with President Trump in Highspeed. So let's get straight into it. And as always, God bless America. Now we'll get straight into it.
All right, well, yesterday we had the opportunity to sit down with former President Donald Trump for an hour and a half. We talked about a lot of things. We talked about policy. We talked about his approach to Ukraine, debt, deficit. But obviously, the top of everyone's mind, how do you feel about what happened in New York City? And what will be your response? Should you be elected, and how would you use the Department of Justice? Here are some of Donald Trump responding to the court case in New York.
In your presidency, what they've done to you, you've got the verdict that just came through. A lot of Democrats have expressed concern that if you're elected, you're going to want revenge. And some of your supporters have said, well, mutually, we were just talking about the weaponization of the justice system against political opponents. Some of your supporters have said, well, the only way to stop this is mutually assured destruction, right? If you do it to us, we're going to do it to you. You've said, no, my revenge is going to be success for America. You've just had this verdict. Do you still feel the same? What's your thoughts on that?
It's a really tough question in one way, because these are bad people. These people are sick, and they do things that are so destructive. I mean, look what they did from the day I got there. And I don't know, a lot of people.
This is complete bull on what they're doing to him. Obama killed innocent Americans, and they just say, oh, it was an accident. And then he had a drone strike and killed a bunch of civilians in another country that were at a wedding. And nobody goes after him. They're literally going after Trump. Like, there's murders and rapists running free in New York City, getting released without bail. And they're going after Trump over a campaign violation, saying he didn't label the money right. This is the biggest sham trial ever taken place in America, period. And in my personal belief, I think President Trump is the greatest president since Abraham Lincoln.
Said we have no choice but to elect Trump Republicans because he's the only one that can withstand this. Don't forget, if it weren't me, they'd be going after somebody else. And I know a lot of the competition, they wouldn't do so well. They wouldn't be doing so well.
Nobody could do as well as Trump. Trump is the only man in America that has the money and the will to fight these crooked, woke idiots in politics.
Right now, they'd be saying, Mommy, take me home. I want to go home. This is brutal. But these are sick people. And, for instance, the 51 intelligence agents, who thinks of these? And they think about it just like they say, I'm guilty of. And, all this information was from so many years before the election. It's before the election. So
that's a great point, because you're talking about the intel agencies. Obviously, remember what Chuck Schumer said? He said, if you take off the intel agencies, they'll find a way to get you 6 ways a day. If you're elected, are you going to reform the intel community? What exactly are you going to do to make sure they don't target Americans like this?
Well, first of all, if you remember, when I took over, we had a guy named Comey. He was there. I didn't put him there. I didn't want him there. I thought he was terrible, actually. And he tried to get me, and I reversed it on him. Some people said he cost Hillary the election, and he didn't want to. But he was a bad guy, not a capable guy, an evil guy. They were doing things that, I won't mention here because it's so conspiratorial. I don't want to be conspiratorial. It's too nice a show. But bad guy. I fired him. Then I fired Strzok and Page and this one and that. Well, I got rid of that whole group of people, and we were doing great. Look, it's a very interesting question, and I say it, and it sounds beautiful, right? My revenge will be success, and I mean that. But it's awfully hard when you see what they've done. These people are so evil. And
you still need to go after Biden for weaponizing. He needs put in prison. Hillary Clinton, she's allegedly a hit woman. Like, everybody talks about how all of her enemies just randomly happen to die or commit suicide. They need prosecuted. 100%. Trump should go after all these bastards.
And at the same time, the country can come together. I'm saying this, but the country can come together. During my term, prior to COVID, we had the most successful country we've ever had.
I want to follow up on what Rachel asked you, though, because I hear you struggling with it. I hear you say it's a tough question, a bit unsure. You famously said, regarding Hillary Clinton, lock her up. You declined to do that as president.
I beat her. It's easier when you win. And they all said lock her up. And I could have done it, but I felt it would have been a terrible thing. And then this happened to me. And so I may feel differently about it. I can't tell you. I'm not sure I can answer the question. Hillary Clinton, I didn't say lock her up, but the people will say lock her up, lock her up. Okay. Then we won. And I said pretty openly, all right, come on, just relax. Let's go.
I think he should sue her for one, calling all of us deplorables and xenophobes and homophobes, and she's ridiculous. She literally attacked half of America, over half of America, just because we like Donald Trump, calling us racist. President Trump, please sue that dirty bitch.
So we got to make our country great.
Yeah.
And it would have been, think of it, you lock up the wife of a president of the United
States. They
States.
were locking up over $130,000 of an accounting thing. And
a perfectly stated accounting thing. But, people also say, can you bring the country together? And the answer is yes. Success will bring the country together, because I had it together. Before the China virus came in, I had it together. We really had it together. And it would have stayed. I think it would have stayed. Everybody was doing better. The country was doing better than it had ever done. And we're going back to the same policies and then some.
Americans have lost a lot of trust in institutions. And I think there's been a lot of discussion, especially online and especially with young people. How do we rebuild that trust in institutions? The CIA, the FBI, all those institutions.
You're right.
Some people think that one way.
I think the FBI and the CIA should be fired. 90% of them are just crooked bastards. They literally have done nothing but weaponize our government against us. A lot of people have been killed by the CIA, and it turns out that they did nothing wrong, allegedly. And everybody, I'm sure, knows who I'm talking about. And the FBI, like Joe Biden had 50-something former FBI agents say that the Russian laptop was fake. 50 lying FBI agents. They all need disbarred. He should completely fire all of them and completely start over. Everybody in the FBI needs fired and then just rebuild it. If you work there, or if you've ever have worked there, you no longer have a job. Start over from scratch, rebuilding the CIA and the FBI. This is crazy how they're weaponizing our government agencies against the American people and the president, former president.
To build trust is to declassify things that everyone's talking about. I know you talked earlier about I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist. So if you were president, would you declassify, you can answer yes or no to these, would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah. I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
Attorney General, what are you? We talked about how you fix the DOJ, how you bring justice back.
And I think that's another reason why they're doing everything in their power to keep him from getting in the White House, because they know 90% of these politicians are on the Jeffrey Epstein flight list. That's the main reason they don't want him getting elected, is because it's going to expose all of them as pedophiles that they are.
This country. When we talk to people, people's faith in the system is shattered. Yeah. I mean, absolutely shattered. We've seen it in your fundraising.
It should be.
Allegedly. I have to say allegedly so I don't get sued.
So who do you choose? What kind of, do you have a name that you're the top on your list?
I do have a couple, and one in particular, but I made a lot of good choices. I got that one wrong. I was very loyal to one because he was the first senator to endorse me. As soon as conflict came up, he ran for the hills. And actually the second one, he ran for the hills. When he heard that he was going to be impeached, they were going to impeach him. And he was like a different person. I had to get rid of him.
And the first time he was president, I don't know how he got anything done with everybody, all the Democrats, and some of the Republicans, which they're rhinos, fighting against him. Everything he had to do was an uphill battle. And he still had inflation, the lowest inflation in like 40 years. And he lowered taxes. He lowered the gas prices. He did all that while fighting the Democrats and the rhino Republicans. Republican in name only.
And I would say that was the one of the truly important positions as Attorney General. And I was very disappointed at both of those Attorney Generals. Jeff Sessions was, I don't blame myself too much. He was some position in Alabama, and he wanted to be so bad. And he was the first senator to endorse me. And again, I was sort of a civilian. I didn't have a lot of people. I didn't know that many senators. And he went to a rally in Mobile. The fact is that we had 72,000 people, so it wasn't that big a shot. But he came to me and he said, I'd love to be Attorney General. And I didn't see it. And then he came 3-4 times, and I said, just out of loyalty, I did it. And he ran for the hills because it's nasty. This is a nasty business. This is a nasty world.
How do you find
and
this?
Barr was threatened. In all fairness to him, he was Attorney General. He was a respected guy. And they said they were going to impeach him. I understand that. I said, I got impeached twice and my numbers went up, which is unusual. I said, it's not so bad to be impeached. What are they going to impeach? He had no idea what they were going to impeach. But he was going to be impeached. They didn't know what. They didn't know why. It's like they took me to trial. There's no crime. They were trying to devise the crime during the trial. That's how bad it was. But with Barr, and he let me down. He let me down. He let down our country. He endorsed me the other day, as you saw. Right? But he let down our country. It takes a brave person to do it. People don't want to be impeached. They don't want to be indicted by these scoundrels who are much more evil than people. I'm telling you, China and Russia, they're not the problem. We have a problem from within that's really bad. So he let us down. The key to really good government, where we had like Lighthizer and some of these people that were really good, it's the person that's at the top. If you get the right person, it's like magic. It's like in real estate, you put a good super in a building, the building runs well. You put a bad one in, it's the same thing, a little bit slightly larger scale. But we had great people. I rebuilt the military. We did things that were amazing. One of the things that the people that watch your show should know, we defeated ISIS quickly. I was told it would take 5 years. I did it in a matter of weeks, right? Fast. And they did it fantastically. And I got to know the real fighting generals. There's not woke in the military. There's woke at the top. They want there to be woke. But these guys aren't meant for woke.
Are you going to fire those generals? The woke generals at the top? Keep the top.
Yes, I would get rid of them, yeah. But see, now I know them. I didn't know them before. I came in. What do I know? I was a New York real estate person, but no, I'd fire them. I would fire them. You can't have woke military. You said it's so great. You need people that want to win. They want to win wars. That's what their purpose is, to win wars, not to be woke. But we do have great military. You look at what we did. I was the only one in 78 years or something. I didn't start any wars. I finished wars. I got out of Syria. I took our soldiers home. I would have moved a lot of them out of Germany. I was going to move them out of Germany. Not all of them, but I would have moved. We have 45,000. So that's like, what we do by doing that, we're giving Germany this massive shot in the arm, and then they don't treat us well in trade. But we have a great military, and there's nothing woke about it other than those top guys. I used to watch Milley sit there in Congress and talk about, he's trying to understand this and that mind. I won't get into it, but certain minds. I say, is this guy crazy? But it's one of those things. I've gotten to know a lot of the generals because of the things we did. And we had some unbelievable wins, as you know. We had some wins with terrorists, the two biggest terrorists in the world ever. I took out. So we have some great things planned. It's very important, the people that run the agencies, if you get the good ones, and I think I have great ones slated, but if you get the good ones, it's like magic. And we had mostly good ones. You think more about the bad ones. We had some bad ones, too.
There's so much in there. I mean, when I'm rewatching it from having been there yesterday, he's just so honest. I think that is his strength. He's just kind of telling you what he thinks. He speaks from the heart. I loved how he compared, these agencies and the governments to, like, if you have a good super in the building's going to be fine. And so he's talking about, hey, I made some mistakes with some of these people at the head of these agencies. I'm going to, learn from that and pick better people. Again, really fascinating that he was very direct. I asked him if he would, declassify JFK, Epstein, and the 9/11 files, and he said yes.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting. A couple of places you heard it there. He said, "That's a tough question. What do you do at DOJ? What do I do with an attorney general? Revenge will be." He said, "Yes, revenge will be my success." I mean that. But it's still difficult. Excuse me. Success will be my revenge, but it's difficult. What does that really look like? I don't know. I thought your question about the lock her up vis-a-vis and his answer about how, hey, it's one thing to say it, it's another thing to do it, and they did it to me, and that changes the view of how everything works. I'm Steve Doocy.
All right, that's today's video. If you like it, like it. If you'd like to get all your news in half the time, go ahead and subscribe. Till next time, God bless y'all.